he takes the helmet off, and it's this gorgeous black-haired man.
And those inner helmet combs just totally fair-frosted his hair.
Exactly.
It's the best.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I hope they don't cut that hair.
Hey guys, it's Luthien, and along with Emrys, we are Girls with Sabers. This is part 2 of our Kylo Ren podcast. In this episode, we discuss the significance of Luke's sacrifice and why his death is so important in terms of Kylo Ren's journey. Yeah, Luke's betrayal was the catalyst for Ben Solo to turn to the dark side, but his death is the start of the turn of Ben's redemption. Pull out those tissues, Reylos, for this podcast will stir up plenty of hope as we discuss the symbolism of that Solo family heirloom. There's no risk in betting on those dice, for the resurrection of the romantic hero is certain. Also, we want to apologize if we sound repetitive. We are doing it mainly for emphasis and to catch other viewers up, kind of like Days of Our Lives. Like sands through the hourglass, so are the Star Wars of our lives. Enjoy!
A lot of fans were upset that we didn't get the Luke Skywalker we wanted to with a real battle on Crate. That's not what Crate was about. Crate was full of salt. Crate was full of red. Crate was full of old wounds and feeling very fresh. And it was about atonement.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger picture here, it's been how many years? 30 plus years till now. And a lot of people so many fans had such high standards for Luke that how can a character even live up to those standards? In the movie, Luke had his own standards that he didn't live up to, and that's why he hid. That's why he left.
Ready to commit suicide. And he had done it multiple times. Not commit suicide, but was about to. He tried to burn down the Jedi, the tree, multiple times, and just couldn't do it. So he was in a horrible mental state, as well as seeing those young Jedis in training dead in front of him, and all of the temple burning. And that was all of his work as well. So not only does he have this inner anguish about failing Ben, he failed all those other children.
And he failed his sister by almost killing Leia's son. Because
that would wreck anyone.
If Luke showed no remorse for that, if it didn't make him doubt his faith, make him doubt his identity, make him want or consider ending the Jedi, that would be
on Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
And it's the same as Obi-Wan.
Yes.
Sacrificing himself, knowing that he'd be more powerful in the Force, that he'd be able to do more in the Force. And he let Vader strike through him.
Yeah. He literally raised his lightsaber to his face.
Yes.
And that was George Lucas's original plan for how Luke would go out. An interview with Mark Hamill, and I will link it below in the description. It was early 80s, I believe. And he says that you will return as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that's exactly who he was. He had his arc as becoming a Jedi. He returns as the mentor. The curmudgeon mentor. Because all good mentors are curmudgeon. From Merlin to Gandalf. He came back as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And although I hated for him to die, it did make sense for him to die to complete that story and to sacrifice his life for Rey, for his nephew, for the Resistance, and for the Jedi itself.
Well, and his sister.
Yeah.
You know? And I understand, and I get the anger.
I do too.
But then you don't understand Luke Skywalker. Don't look at Mark Hamill. Look at the character of Luke Skywalker.
Characters who do not change over time are static characters, and therefore they are not well developed. What you want to be is dynamic, meaning you change, you adapt, your character grows off the screen and off the stage, and if your character does not do that, then you are considered a weaker character, because you did not get the development that your character needed. And you are told as a writer, as an actor, you do not play your character static. So the fact is if Mark Hamill wanted to give you what you guys wanted, what he wanted, he was basically saying that Luke Skywalker did not deserve to be a dynamic character.
It's horrible because we watched an actor we loved mourn his character, but more than just mourn him, mourned of what could have been,
right,
and what he wanted. Just because the actor who portrayed the character, and obviously we put the two together so closely because they're just synonymous with them, that doesn't mean best way for the character to go.
Yeah.
Just because of what the actor wants.
No.
For the character. You know, of course we wanted to see Luke have an epic lightsaber battle, but that's not
what he is.
The avenue he was supposed to go.
Yeah. That's not who a Jedi is.
Exactly.
I mean, I love a lot. I mean, we are girls with sabers. Don't get us wrong. We love a saber duel.
Mm-hmm. We love a good saber, guys.
Yes, we do.
Everyone wants Luke Skywalker to be this, Jedi Grandmaster and, have the answers to everything, to be Mr. Miyagi and ride off into the sunset. Well, he did ride off into the sunset. What we saw in the sunsets, plural, what we saw in The Last Jedi, a lot of people feel we got too prematurely. Fine. I get that. I really, really do. And a part of me does feel that way. But what we saw was the most Luke Skywalker thing we could have ever seen.
Luke fell away. That can happen to even the best of Jedi Masters.
It's not only that, but it seems like there's an attraction to the dark side, an attraction to violence, and people don't understand the quest or the goal of the Jedi. If you want him to come in and just be full of bloodlust and kill Kylo and kill everyone, then that's not a Jedi, and that's not a Luke. That means he has gone Sith, and that would be against his character. Because he is the Jedi who, as Rey said, showed compassion on the most hated men in the galaxy and chose to see light in him. He is the Jedi who refused to take up his lightsaber and kill the Emperor or kill Vader.
Exactly. He did to Ben what he did to his father.
And that's what I'm saying. If
he didn't strike him down.
And he did show him to be the most powerful Force user by going across the galaxy as a doppelganger. And that's not something that Rian Johnson pulled from the air of his imagination. No. That came from a book. Well, Luke did that for...
Sorry to interrupt you. Not only projecting himself, but projecting himself with one of the last visions Kylo or Ben had of him, making him appear to Ben like it was the last time at the Jedi Temple. His hair was cut. He was clean shaven. He was wearing his black robes. That is powerful. That is powerful stuff right there. Luke's sacrifice is going to be all the more meaningful when Ben comes back to the light, because why would he sacrifice himself if he didn't have the hope that Ben could come back? Luke projecting himself onto Crate was pure atonement. Sure, he was allowing the Resistance to escape, allowing his sister to escape, but that's not his sole purpose for being on Crate. He listened to Rey in that moment where she was, beating him with her staff, and she said, Ben Solo is our last hope. He heard her. He listened to her.
Our only hope.
And he projected himself across the freaking galaxy in order to apologize to his nephew. And it was one of the most beautiful scenes of the film. I love that scene.
I do too. That is a gesture of the utmost strength and courage a person can do, is face the whole First Order, face the resistance and admit you, the legend of Luke Skywalker, was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
More leaders should do that, because if they did that, all those wounds would heal, or at least have more of a chance to heal. And
Yes.
I heard that Crate is a metaphor for Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm.
Rich in mineral, bloody, and that's what it was. When he was trying to kill Luke and just bury that planet with bullets, bury Luke in those bullets, a lot of that was fear, hatred, and rage and hurt. I mean, pain that Kylo himself was feeling towards his uncle that was supposed to rescue him, was supposed to help him, and betrayed him.
Well, not only that, but was not willing to face Snoke to save his nephew.
Yeah.
His sister's son. Was not willing to do that. And was scared. I looked at him and I saw darkness. And Luke was ready to kill him and not fully face that.
Yeah.
Face Ben, face Snoke, face himself. So Crate was all about Luke coming to do what he could to save Ben, and knowing he was going to die doing it.
Yeah.
And Ben knew that. The minute he stuck his saber through him and realized he was projecting himself, his no wasn't an angry or bitter no, like, it was a no like, I know exactly what you're doing and you're going to die. And Luke saying, see you around, kid.
Right.
Was not taunting.
No.
That was see you around, kid.
That's one of those Solo terms of endearment.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Han calls everyone, especially Luke. That's a term, I think, of brotherhood in the Solo Skywalker family.
Definitely. And I think it was said fatherly. I think Luke could have been something Luke had said to Ben a lot, also something Han said to him a lot. So not only is Luke saying it, but he said it with intent of it sounding like his father.
Exactly.
Han Solo. Such a beautiful scene. And Kylo Ren will die, but Ben Solo will be redeemed and he will live, because Han Solo's sacrifice, Luke's sacrifice, and even Leia's sacrifice, if they end up killing her in 9, it'll all be worth it. Right.
If you have any reservation and knowing that Luke had hope for Kylo, that Leia had hope for Kylo or for Ben, if you look at that conversation between Luke and Leia, that final one where he hands her the dice, all of those pronouns are regarding and referring back to Ben. Luke says, I cannot save him. Leia says something like, I know my son is gone. And Luke says, no one is really ever gone. He is not talking about Han there. He's talking about Ben. And Leia, at that moment in the book, and especially the junior novelization, she has that understanding that her son is not gone from her, and that Rey can help her son. Rey also has the same conclusion. Right before she tries to take the legacy lightsaber from Ben and the saber splits, she says in the novel she knew at that moment, in order to bring back Ben Solo, she had to destroy Kylo Ren.
I think it was also a play on what we were visually seeing in that scene where Luke gives Leia
the dice. Yeah.
Not only does it mean no one is ever really gone, even though Han Solo is physically dead, he's still in our hearts. But Ben Solo played with those dice and everyone knew it.
Exactly.
Ben Solo wanted to be a pilot just like his father. Ben Solo wanted to be this and that way before Kylo Ren came into being. And that's Luke saying no one is ever really gone and putting the dice from Ben's childhood in Leia's hands, meaning your Ben is not gone. No one is ever really gone.
and Leia leaving those
Leaving
dice,
dice. Yep.
for him to find.
Mm-hmm.
Just think. I mean, just think of that. If those dice were just for Han, and if I were Leia, she would have grasped those dice as long as she possibly could, because she knew, like Luke, like her brother, they were just a mere doppelganger. But she left them for her son as a reminder of what he once wanted to be and who he should be. Soak in that. If you like Han Solo, then you will like Ben Solo, because there's so much.
Yeah.
I mean, the father lives in the son. It's a Lion King, people.
Yes. Han Solo's Mufasa. I mean, okay, so.
And I think at that moment, there's so many resurrection symbolism.
Yes.
Like Rey lifting the rocks from the tomb and the resistance being able to be saved. And then if you look at the base, there's actually carvings of light that form across the windows.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a resurrection metaphor of like Luke kind of being like the Moses character, didn't make it on the other side of paradise, but he got the people there.
So think about now, Rey moving all those rocks.
Yeah.
And Rey and Ben would have seen each other through the Force bond, yes. But Ben looking up that way, he's literally looking past where the stones would have been,
right,
out onto the Falcon through the Force bond. But she's moved the rocks for him. Now he's the one who has to come out.
Yep.
He's the one who has to make that journey to the fully on the other side. It's complete resurrection.
It is.
Parallel.
Conclusion of Part 2. The next video in the series will be regarding the romance of restraint in Kylo's journey and development. Please subscribe, share, comment. You know the drill. I feel like a broken record, but it's gotta be said. Thank you so much for your support. Peace, love, and Reylo.
All magic comes with a price.